Ooh, it's a cold, frosty morning to cozy up by the old fire. Hey everybody, how we all doing today? Teching and Barry back again, and I would like to welcome you all, cue ominous drum beat, to the Christmas season! No! It's not even December yet, Teching! What are you doing? Hey, just be thankful I'm not like every retail outlet in the United States that starts putting Christmas stuff out in like August. I wish that was an exaggeration. If you don't live in the US and you're like, Christmas stuff in August, that's not a thing. Oh no, it's a thing. I remember very vividly when I worked at Dollar Tree. It was August, so still the summer, and we were like, yeah, we're supposed to put up this little Christmas display in the center of the store. I'm like, it's August. It's like, yeah, that's what they want us to do. I want you to start thinking about it early. It's like, okay, fine. This is actually my old Jester elf hat from when I worked at Dollar Tree. I'm going to take it off, though, because it's covered with bells, and that's very annoying. All right, so what are we talking about today, BEPO? Oh, that's right, BEPO. All right, today we're going to be talking about Law and BEPO and their marvelous adventure after they were defeated very soundly by Blackbeard. Not as badly as Kid and Killer were defeated by SPHINX, but still defeated. I still love to this day, and it might just be the translation issue because, you know, there's that. But when Kid and Killer were completely crushed by SPHINX at Elbaf, that's what it was. It was like, you know, the Kid Pirates, led by Eustace Captain Kidd and Murder Machine Killer, were utterly destroyed on this day. And then it's Law and BEPO being defeated by Blackbeard, and I have the chapter pulled up right here, and it was just, the Heart Pirates, led by Trafalgar Law, were soundly defeated. All right? It's like Blackbeard was like, yeah, say, ha. Well, I guess I beat them. I'm not going to rub it in or anything like that. Yeah, you guys can get going. You know, just soundly defeated Law. Just left him down to bed at the end of the day, you know, and tucked him in, you know. Meanwhile, SPHINX is just like, all right, you reckon Elbaf, you're coming in here and attacking my fleet, you're going down. SPHINX can't even do this. He only has one arm, you know? It's just like, all right, let's go, okay? So, we're going to be talking about today, because we don't know exactly what happened to Kid and Killer. I'm assuming they're still alive, because, you know, Oda's track record with that. But as in the case with at least Law and BEPO, it was confirmed that they got away. So the Heart Pirate crews, they put up a valiant fight against Blackbeard. I think a lot of them did better than most people gave them credit for, like Sachi and Penguin and Jean Bart. They put up a pretty good fight, but you got Blackbeard, you had Van Augur with his teleportation fruit, also with his new goatee, which I'm not 100% sure how I really feel about that on Van Augur, but whatever, he's got some facial hair now. You got Burgess on the island with his Riki no Mi! Oh, way! He could already lift up a mountain, but now he can lift up a mountain on top of that mountain. We had Dr. Q with the sick fruit and Stronger, who's a Pegasus. They really had no chance at beating them, right? So Blackbeard was basically lording it over Law. He was just like, say ha ha ha! Well, what are we gonna do with the op fruit? We gonna use it or are we gonna sell it? Now, you would think that like, oh no, did Blackbeard already steal the devil fruit from Law? No, that wasn't the case because Blackbeard follows that up by saying, you don't fancy making me immortal, do you, Law? So that seems to confirm that, yeah, Law still has the op powers. He's just on the ground, just beat to shit, and he can't really do much, okay? I'm assuming the way they do it is, you know, they have to actually kill the person, and then they have some means to immediately transfer it to a fruit. That's a whole discussion for another day, exactly like the whole idea of how reincarnation works, like the actual step-by-step process, because at Punk Hazard, when Smiley died, it went immediately into the nearest fruit, which was an apple, but a lot of other times it seems to be just a random fruit somewhere in the world. It just seems that, like, if it was so easy to just, like, hey, I have a pineapple, I'm gonna kill Law, hold up the pineapple next to Law, and then that pineapple immediately becomes the next op fruit. If it was that simple, I feel like somebody would have figured that out a long time ago before Blackbeard. I feel like, you know, Vegapunk would have mentioned that a long time ago or something like that, right? A long time ago. We've only gotten to know Vegapunk for a year, so I guess it makes sense. But whatever, we're not getting into that discussion today. Point is, Law still does have the op fruit. However, something he does not have is his hat. Blackbeard stole his hat. I joked about this when I did the review. But next time we see the Blackbeard crew in their full scope, all the Titanic captains gathering together, I want to see Stronger wearing Law's hat. I want to say, like, they took the hat and put it on their horse. None of the actual captains are even wearing it. It's the horse that is wearing it. I love that. Well, anyway, so Beppo, he had, I guess, a rumble ball. We didn't really see it exactly. It was some type of drug given to him by Chopper. And we have a Law Chopper here, limited edition Law Chopper. Hey, everybody! Room! Shambles! Anesthesia! There we go. Chopper gave Beppo, before they left Wano, like, some kind of, like, upgraded rumble ball, some kind of technology, and he's just like, hey, I'm not exactly sure this will work, but if you eat this, you should be able to go Sulong, at least temporarily, even if there's no moon out, okay? Like, mess with the biology of the minks, okay? And by the way, I'm assuming also Chopper might have given this to Wanda and Carrot and Inuarashi Nekamamushi while they stayed at Wano, and then Carrot went back to Zoe and everything. I'm sure a lot of the minks might have this. But anyway, so Beppo's on the ground. He's beaten anyway, so he's just like, oh, I hope this works. He eats the rumble ball, and then he roids out into his Sulong form. We see Sulong Beppo in all of his glory. He charges. He slashes Blackbeard and Augur down, and he was able to grab Law and get the hell out of Dodge. Keep in mind, Beppo is a polar bear, and they are really good swimmers. So he picks up his captain. They dive in the water, and they shoot away like a damn jet ski. And Law's there, and he's like, Beppo, we need to go back to get my hat. Also the crew, I guess. And Beppo's like, no, Captain, we'll find you a new hat. You have to survive. It's just like, oh, no, I really like that hat. Okay? It was my thing, Beppo. It was my thing. I know, Captain. I know. All right, so they're leaving. Okay, so it's better than what happened with Kid and Killer, at least. Okay, so where are they gonna end up is the question, or rather, since we're now in the final saga, there's gonna be some loop-de-loop stuff that Oda's gonna do here, so that Law and Beppo can kind of get back into the main plot. I don't think they're just gonna like, okay, Captain, we found a random island in the New World that's uninhabited. I guess we'll just live here for the rest of our days. And then it's just Law and Beppo having a little Dr. Stone survival arc where they're just living on an island and just like, okay, like hunting animals and growing food, and they're just the best of friends. Okay? It's just, I don't think that's the way it's gonna go. Although honestly, if it did go that way, they would have their happy ending, you know what I mean? They would have, like, they don't have to fight anymore. They're not gonna, hey, nobody wanted Law to die, right? Everybody out there is like, hey, we don't want Law to die. It's like, okay, well, the best way for him not to die is to just give up the pirating life and live on a deserted island with Beppo, maybe open a bakery at some point. A bakery/hospital. If there can be a small clinic in the middle of the desert to save Pell after a point-blank nuclear explosion, there can be a random hospital/bakery in the middle of nowhere in the New World on some deserted island. I tell you what. All right, Beppo makes the delicious donuts, and then Law is in the back performing surgery on a fish. I don't know. I'm just giving you a scenario, okay? But no, seriously, where are they going to end up? Okay, the first thing I thought of was Zoe, because Zunisha was parked outside of Wano for a little while there, so it made the trek all the way to Wano. Winter Island, or Wiener Island, which is where Blackbeard defeated Law, was one of the next islands after Wano, okay? So Zunisha was parked there, and then Momonosuke was like, oh, actually, Zunisha, we're not going to open Wano today. Maybe in a few months or years, I'm not really sure, but we're not opening it up right now. And Zunisha's like, oh, all right, I mean, I walked all the way here, man. It's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I was waiting 1,000 years for this. I'm like, I know. Can you wait like a couple more weeks? Maybe a year or so at most. It's like, oh my God, all right, I guess. Let me just put myself in reverse. Zunisha's like in reverse, like beep, beep, beep. The fucking elephant moves away from Wano. So it's skulking somewhere around Wano, okay? It's wandering the seas. That's the whole point of Zunisha. It doesn't stay at a fixed location. It kind of wanders the New World, right? So, it might be relatively close to Law's location, and Beppo, being a mink, being from Zoe, has like a natural animal homing instinct. It's not like exact, but like because Beppo is from Zoe, it's like I know the general location of like where Zoe is, because that's my homeland, okay? Like animals always can find the way home, kind of like the way birds migrate and stuff like that, okay? So, if that is the situation, if they could make it back to Zunisha, that would actually be a really good boon for BEPO and Law. That's one of actually the best scenarios I have there, because the minks are all friendly. They would welcome them with open arms. They have doctors on the island. They have Miyagi and Tristan, who is the squirrel mink. Chopper taught them some extra stuff. So, Law is a doctor himself. So they wouldn't be any danger of dying. We would get to see Carrot again, and she's the new Duchess of Zoe. And so now you have all of the minks working together. Maybe they would be like, hey, after Law and BEPO kind of recover, maybe BEPO would beseech the minks and be like, hey, so Duchess Carrot, congratulations on the promotion, by the way. So our crew were beaten by a Yonko, and we don't know if they're dead or not, so it would be really swell if you could, like, help us go and get them back. Now, that would actually be very interesting. That would be like Carrot's first major decision, as the new ruler of Zoe. Now, she does have, like, Wanda and Sicilian to, like, be her advisors. It's like she's not the only one, because she is kind of young to be in that position of authority, but, it's like historically you'd have, like, pharaohs and stuff that would be put on the throne as children, and they would just have, like, advisors and stuff to, like, help them until they got to the point where they can rule on their own. So that's going to be kind of Carrot's situation here. The next generation, as it were. That was more of what Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were really talking about when they made Carrot the next Duchess. Obviously, she's not going to be a great ruler right out of the gate, right? But anyway, this would be a major decision to make, though. This isn't as simple. I mean, it's like the minks are all family, and BEPO is one of their own, so it'd be like, we'll help you, BEPO, no matter what, absolutely. But also at the same time, it's like, we'll be going up against a Yonko here, and we just got finished fighting 2 of those. So let me get this straight. We just got finished fighting 2 Yonko, where a lot of the minks fighting force was heavily wounded, and they're still probably licking their wounds at Zunisha right now. And then only like a week or 2 later, BEPO and Law show up, and they're like, want to fight another one? It's just like, not really. We really want to help you, BEPO. But, like, you got your ass kicked, and we are all still heavily wounded. It gets to the point where I don't even know if BEPO would ask them that, actually, because BEPO would look around and see all the injured minks, and the fighting force has diminished. Nekomamushi and Inuarashi are now at Wano, so they're not going to be there to help them. And, like, who do you got? I mean, you got the 3 Musketeers, you got Sicilian and his crew, right? You got the Forest Guardians, but a lot of them are still going to be injured. That's the point, right? So yeah, I don't know, but if they made it to Zoe, at least they would have a place to rest and heal and figure out their next plan of action. And Law is a pretty smart guy. He's a tactician, of course, so he could figure out some method to be like, all right, you guys don't need to get involved, but I do need you to, like, could you at least get us over to this point, and then I can, like, get a ship or something, and then we can get out of here, and we can go check on my crew, something like that, maybe. But there are a lot of other options on the table. There's actually quite a few options. Here's one that's a little funny, but I would love this, okay? Law and Kid were both defeated by Yonkos around the same time. Shanks defeated Kid and Killer, and then Dorian Broggy just obliterated the Victoria Punk. I mean, that ship is destroyed. Blackbeard and his crew destroyed the Polar Tang. It shattered into a bunch of pieces. It exploded underwater. Now it's sinking, okay? So their ships were both destroyed. Kid and Killer were both slashed by Shanks at, like, wicked fast hypersonic speeds. You have Heat and you have Wire and, like, Bubblegum and some of the Gig and some of the other members of the Kid Pirates that are, like, there. Like, I was like, oh, please don't die, Captain. Please don't die, Killer. That kind of stuff. What if it's a situation where BEPO is, like, grabbing Law and he's, like, they're, like, paddling through the water. Like, we'll find somewhere to rest, Captain. Don't worry. And then they just look over and then there's the Kid Pirates just floating on debris and just like, oh, there's some people. Oh, hey, everybody. And then you just see Heat and Wire there cradling the unconscious bodies of Kid and Killer. And they're like, oh, so, you run into a Yonko too? Yes. You, like Blackbeard, you, Shanks. Okay. And then it's just Law and BEPO floating in the water. And then it's all the Kid Pirates like, what do you want to do? It's like, I don't know. Okay, in that scenario, maybe they could find a deserted island, just some place to rest. And after like Law recovers a little bit, maybe him being the doctor, maybe he could help Kid and Killer. Because at that point, what would Law do, right? It's like, okay, I got my ass defeated and all my crew was completely destroyed. I mean, they're not dead, but it's very heavily defeated, okay? Kid and Killer had the exact same thing happen to them. In fact, honestly, worse, okay? So maybe in that scenario, when they're all beaten and broken, if they were together again on some random island, maybe Law would take some pity on them and be like, all right, we both kind of charged in against other Yonko and got our asses kicked pretty quickly. So, all right, Law's going to patch himself up, and then he'll heal Kid and Killer to make sure they don't die. Because Kid, with Killer, it was like so fast we didn't even see it. Like, it was like the backswing from Shanks took out Killer. And then with Kid, it was like him just, using the Kamusari, just streaming in and slicing right through Kid's, cannon, his railgun, and just sliced him down. So, I would imagine Kid does need some immediate surgery, or he's going to bleed out a lot, all right? And who's the best surgeon in town? That would be Law. So if they were like, they were defeated at like Elbaf and Winter Island, like, oh no, we're going to get out of here, and then they run into each other, like that would be kind of funny. That would be kind of humorous. Where else they could go, though, Beppo and Law, where there is a doctor that could help them. If Law is, like, so unconscious and beaten that he simply cannot operate on himself, there is another option here. Because SPHINX Island is somewhere in the vicinity of Wano. We don't know exactly where, but it was close enough that Nekomamushi was able to go and visit Marco, and then they were able to go back to Wano. And it was a journey, but it wasn't like that long of a journey, it seems. Marco was able to make a little bit of a vacation. He was able to leave, SPHINX to go to Wano and then come right back. So if they make it to SPHINX, then Marco's there. Marco would probably help them out. Marco would at least heal Law, because it's like, okay, well, I don't usually make it a point to, like, save captains of other pirate crews, but Marco's technically not a pirate anymore. He retired. And also, Marco does have a vested interest here because this could tie into the whole Miss Buckingham, Stussy, and Weevil situation, okay? Because Weevil was at SPHINX, saved the island from some corrupt Marines. Then Aramaki showed up, defeated Weevil, dragged him away. And then Miss Bucking is still on the island, and she's like, oh, you saved my baby boy! And Marco's like, I really appreciate you guys protecting the island while I was gone, but I can't leave this island again. You saw what happened the first time I left. I was gone for like a week or so, and then look what happened, right? So I can't leave the island again. But then Law and Beppo wash ashore, and Marco's like, all right, fate seems to smile on me. Take the opportunity, right? And so Marco is going to heal up Law and Beppo with because he's a doctor, and be like, okay, you guys are all right. But then it's like, hey, I didn't do this for free. I have a doctor's fee, and my fee is you going to help Miss Bucking out because her son helped me. I want to repay them for their good deeds, but I can't leave the island, so you guys are going to have to be the ones to go rescue Weevil. And so then you have Law and Beppo, like, all right, I mean, like, in that situation where Law has already been crushingly defeated by Blackbeard and had to be patched up by somebody else, and Beppo's there, it's like, maybe they'll be like, okay. And then also you could still have the thing where maybe Marco takes out his Den Den Mushi and calls up some old war buddies of his, calls up maybe Jozu or Vista, Curiel, King Du, some of the old members of the Whitebeard crew, get them moving and be like, hey, we could form like a strike team to go and bring Weevil back or something like that, to go rescue him from the Marines, okay? So that's a possibility just to tie SPHINX back into everything here. Here's an idea. What about the Cross Guild? Because when you think about it, the Cross Guild, what's it made up of? You got Buggy, you got Crocodile, you got Mihawk. Law and Beppo really don't have any connection with any of those characters in a positive or negative way. It's not like, Law pissed off Mihawk a long time ago and Mihawk's like, I will never help him. Nothing like that. No. In fact, it was really funny. It was actually just in the anime where they found out the Cross Guild's existence, and Law's like, this Buggy the Clown character, if he has Crocodile and Mihawk working under him, he must be a real tough customer. It's so funny because Law has no context to this. He's never met Buggy. He doesn't know. So from his perspective, as well as like most of the other people in the world, Buggy is just this genius jester clown pirate that is like a personal apprentice of Roger himself that has risen through the ranks on the same level of Shanks and has become a Yonko. And And Law's like, yeah, that tracks. You know, he's got Sir Crocodile and Dracul Mihawk, strongest swordsman in the world, working for him. The strongest sword and the strongest hook. You know, that he's a strong guy himself. He must be. And then Luffy's like, no, you don't understand. He's an idiot. No. He's a total idiot. You don't know. You don't know him like I do. And Law's like, I don't know. He looks pretty powerful. So what if they run into the Cross Guild? Maybe not to the actual, like, Kalibali Island itself, but they run into a ship that's run by the Cross Guild or something, and then they get captured and they get brought back to Kalibali, and they got thrown in front of that, and then it's, you know, you got Crocodile, Buggy, and Mihawk looking down on them, and they're like, oh, they would know exactly who Law is. Like, Crocodile would be like, I know you. You're Trafalgar, I guess they wouldn't know he's a D, but he's like, you're Trafalgar Law from the north. Okay, all right, you know what, you're strong, you got a bounty of 3 billion, what happened to you? And then, you know, they would be like, we were defeated by Blackbeard. It's like, oh, okay, well, you want to work for us? I can't really see any particular, now it's up to Law. I mean, that's Law's decision on whether or not he would want to join the Cross Guild or not. He would be very upset, because it's like, I don't work for anybody else. I am the captain. I am the captain of my heart pirates. But then you could also see Crocodile being like, what heart pirates? The polar bear? Because that's all you got. That's all I see is a man without a hatless man and a polar bear. That's all I see. And then Law's like, and so Law might have to be like, just being more rational in the situation. Law might have to be like, all right, I do not want to take orders from a damn clown, but what other options do I have? So Law might do the thing that kind of like Drake, or Drake's not a good example because he was a member of Sword, but like Hawkins or somebody like, all right, I guess we're going to have to join a Yonko crew just for the sake of still staying in the game. And Law could always be like, I could always leave later, or, you know, double cross them, or, you know, steal some of their shit and skip out. I could always do something like that later. But I think Law being now Kid, if Kid was given that option, Kid might to his grave be like, I'm not working for you. And you saw what happened when he tried to play that shit with Kaido, right? He ended up in a prison, okay? Law, though, might be like, all right, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to take orders from other people. I don't want to be just another cog in a Yonko machine, especially since we just defeated Big Mom. But, you know what? If it's this, or, you know, not have any support whatsoever and trying to build ourselves back up, I mean, I have a crew to rescue, okay? That might be Law's, like, concession. That might be his, like, okay, tell you what, I'll join the Cross Guild, but you got to help me rescue my crew. And, you know, Crocodile might be like, you're in no position to make demands to us. It's like, yeah, well, I'd either, you know, just try my luck somewhere in the New World, or you just execute us right here where we stand. I got to make sure my crew's okay, because Law is very dedicated to his crew. And so maybe at that point, maybe Buggy would step up, and Buggy be like, it's fine. We'll find your crew, and then you can join us. And then Crocodile and Mihawk are like, you don't make decisions in this organization, we do. You know, but then Buggy is doing his big bombastic, like, everybody loves Captain Buggy, woo, let's do a rave. There's just a button at Kalibali Island. They just push a button, and then just the rave lights queue up, like, and then Mihawk and Crocodile are just there, like, Law and BEPO, they're trying to cut this really imposing image of like, we are the Cross Guild, and then Law and BEPO are like, oh no, they're like on the ground all tied up in the tent, and like the spotlight is on them, and it's like, oh man, if we don't play our cards right here, we could just be killed by these people. And then rave time, and BEPO's like, BEPO, stop. Okay, Captain. Just like, okay. So I would actually like to see them join up with the Cross Guild. I think that could tie things back into it very well. Talking about Big Mom, though. So it was mentioned, I think it was when the last surviving member of Cypher Pool Zero was, like, leaving Wano. There was that mention of, like, it's Big Mom's ship. We don't know what's happening. And then, like, they lost radio contact after that. So Big Mom's ship, something happened with Big Mom's, crew, the remaining crew that stayed behind after they got kicked off the waterfall, like, for the second time, right? So after Big Mom was defeated, I think what probably happened is Big Mom's ship, the Queen Mama Shanter, showed up, and they when the volcanic eruption occurred, maybe Big Mom and Kaido were expunged, as it were, from the volcano, and they were all seriously wounded, like half their flesh is, Big Mom's, like, half her flesh is melted off, like, ma, 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 ma. And they're like, oh God, Mama, no! And they, like, brought Big Mom onto the ship, and they're, like, trying to patch her up and everything is like, bring in the chemical sealant, bring in they're just like pouring like epoxy resin on Big Mom's like face to like cover up all the giant scars of the bone and everything you could see. It's like her body like was like, just bring in an iron sheet, we'll just cyborg Big Mom, we're gonna freeze this shit, let's go. Just they're attaching random pieces of junk to Big Mom. Cyborg Big Mom and Cyborg Kaido. You know what? Yes, Oda, yes! The comedy elements are immense, but that means the Big Mom ship is still sailing around somewhere. I don't know if they're just going to go back to Whole Cake. Probably the smart thing would just be for them to go back to Whole Cake. But then Whole Cake was also ravaged by Blackbeard, like Aokiji and Van Augur and everything like that. Like Pudding was captured and all that. So they might go back to Whole Cake. But what if they run into Law? Oh my God. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. Law and BEPO are swimming. I see a ship, Captain. It's a big ship. We'll be okay. It's like a cruise liner. Oh God, no, it's Big Mom's ship. And Beppo's like, oh, and Law's like, no, turn around, Beppo, turn around. And it's too late, and they already see them, and just like, I'm okay. If that happened, I'm pretty sure they would just die. You know, it would maybe be a cool, interesting vehicle, like Cyborg Big Mom walks out and looks over her ship and just, mama, mama, and then she sees Law and Beppo, like, oh no. So I don't think that'll happen, because there's just no reason why Big Mom wouldn't just kill them immediately, you know, in the water, because Law is weakened in the water, and he's already beat up from, you know, the fight with Blackbeard, and Beppo wouldn't be able to fight back against Cyborg Big Mom. I mean, come on now, right? So it was an interesting idea. I just want to throw it in there. If they ran into like the worst possible outcome, they could go back to Wano by that logic, although Wano I think was a decent distance away from Winter. It's always in One Piece like travel times and distances. Like how far was Egghead to Wano? Was that like days or like a week? I think it might have been mentioned, but it's like Oda kind of just, you know, passes over the journey a lot of times. It's just like, yeah, you go from Wano to Egghead, it takes X amount of days / weeks to get there. It's like, okay, probably didn't take weeks, probably took like maybe 1 or 2 weeks at most, but probably not even that, probably just days, right? Well, anyway, they could go back to Wano again, and then, you know, Law shows up. I mean, you know, Momonosuke and everybody would help him out, sure. I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. You know, they're part of the people that saved the entire island, so, you know, sure, that could happen. Maybe you could fit a Rouge in there somewhere, because a Rouge is the last supernova. Maybe they run into a Rouge somewhere, and he saves them. That's really the grasping at straws moment, because I don't see why a Rouge would just be like, he would probably be up in the sky if he was anywhere, because the sky is kind of safe, you know. Maybe a Rouge gave up being a pirate. Maybe after the whole incident with Big Mom and then seeing Kaido jump off of a cloud, maybe a Rouge is just like, you know what, I think I should just go back to being a priest in the sky. It was a tough job, but you know what, it was a lot safer than this, you know. Even with Eneru nuking Bjerka, I think, you know, I'll start a new Bjerka, and that's what a Rouge is doing right now. He just gave up on being a pirate behind the scenes. There it is. But yeah, probably the major ones I want to see, the ones that are most likely to me. Law and Beppo ending up at Zou, because Beppo being a mink and having the homing instinct. Them ending up running into Kid's crew and having some moments there. Or ending up at SPHINX or the Cross Guild, or maybe SPHINX could lead into the Cross Guild, something like that. You know, something happens, but they end up joining back with the main plot line of the story, right? They have to rescue the crew at some point. That'll probably be mainly off-screened. There's not going to be like a little arc where Law and Beppo go and rescue their crew, like they break into Hachinosu to get them back. I mean, if we do have that, it's probably just going to be like a chapter or maybe a cover page or something like that, because the cover page series are now like concurrent with the actual manga. That's pretty neat. So yeah, just wanted to bring up some ideas there on how Law is going to find his way back into the main plot thread of the story, because Law is pretty popular, and Kid just whatever. But when it comes to Law, I mean, we have to keep Law around, right? I mean, yeah. All right, well, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Welcome to the Christmas season. This will be Tekking and Barry and Beppo and Law Chopper signing out.